Good morning, everyone. It's truly an honor to be here with you today. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedules to join this conversation about leadership, something I'm deeply passionate about. Before we dive in, I want you to take a moment, look around you, and acknowledge the people seated nearby. These are the very individuals we rely on to build our bridges. And today we're going to explore how each of us can become bridge builders in our organizations, our communities, and in our own lives. The essence of bridge building leadership is often misunderstood. People assume it's about giving orders, making tough decisions, or leading from the front with the loudest voice in the room. Yet, at its heart, leadership is about building bridges, connecting ideas, people, and aspirations in a way that unites rather than divides. Imagine a world where every leader saw their primary role not as a commander but as a connector. What might change? When you think about building bridges, what images come to mind? Perhaps you visualize soaring steel arches spanning canyons or elegant suspension cables linking shore. But the bridges I'm referring to aren't made of steel, they're made of conversations, empathy, trust, and shared purpose. Consider the early days of Apple under Steve Jobs. He didn't just demand excellence, he connected the creativity of the design team with the discipline of engineers. He built a bridge between art and technology. The result? Products that changed industries and lives, and this principle applies everywhere, from startups seeking product market fit to multinational corporations navigating disruptive change. If you understand that your real task as a leader is to build bridges, you unlock the ability to harness the full power of collective intelligence. Connecting ideas. Let's start with connecting ideas. In many organizations, different departments operate in silos. Marketing talks to marketing, R&D talks to R&D, finance stays over in its own corner crunching numbers, but innovation doesn't happen in silos, it happens at the intersection. I remember visiting a manufacturing plant where production and design teams literally sat on opposite sides of a large floor space. They rarely spoke. When a new product prototype rolled out, the production team would find ways to cut corners or simplify, often undoing the designer's intent. Neither side felt heard and the relationship became strained. Then a new leader came in, let's call her Maria. She didn't start by preaching cost efficiencies or design excellence. Instead, she organized a series of cross-pollination workshops, inviting designers to explain their vision directly to the production team and production leads to walk the designers through real-world constraints. Suddenly, engineers suggested tweaks that made the designer's vision more manufacturable, and designers discovered new materials that improved durability. Maria built a bridge between creativity and pragmatism, and the result was a product line that was both beautiful and profitable. Key takeaway: seek out the intersections of expertise. Host regular bridge-building sessions where different teams present challenges and opportunities. Your role is to facilitate, connect the dots, ask the questions, and watch ideas collide to create something greater than the sum of their parts. Connecting people. If connecting ideas is about bringing diverse expertise together, connecting people is about bringing hearts and minds together. Empathy is the cornerstone here. As leaders, we must ask ourselves, am I aware of the hopes and fears of those I lead? Let me share a story from my early career. I was leading a small team tasked with delivering a high-stakes project under a brutal deadline. The stress was palpable. One day I noticed one team member, let's call her Sarah, was unusually quiet. Her work output was fine, but she was more withdrawn. Instead of pushing harder, I invited her for coffee. It turned out she was struggling at home, her mother had become ill, and she was juggling hospital visits with late-night coding sessions to meet our deadlines. That conversation changed everything. I worked with HR to provide Sarah flexible hours, we redistributed some tasks, and the team rallied around her. We still delivered on time, and with an energy we hadn't harnessed before. Why? Because people matter. When you connect on a human level, you build loyalty, trust, and a willingness to go the extra mile. Action step: regularly check in, not just on project milestones, but on personal well-being. Hold listening tours, one-on-one check-ins, or even informal walks. The bridges you build this way are the strongest foundation for enduring success. Connecting aspirations. Now let's talk about connecting aspirations. Every individual on your team has personal dreams. Some want career advancement, others crave work-life balance, some seek mastery of a new skill. Your role is to align these aspirations with the larger organizational purpose. Take Southwest Airlines as an example. They've long touted a culture of LOV, but that wasn't just lip service. They asked every employee what matters most to you, and then they tied those answers back to their core mission of democratizing air travel. A gate agent who aspired to serve her community found purpose in cheering up passengers with humor. A mechanic who wanted recognition learned that his safety checks were literally saving lives and got rewarded through their Hero of the Quarter program. This kind of alignment transforms a job into a calling. People no longer clock in and out, they show up to contribute to something larger than themselves. The bridge between personal aspirations and organizational mission creates deep engagement. Practical tool: create individual development plans that explicitly link personal goals to company objectives. Hold quarterly aspiration alignment sessions where employees articulate what success looks like for them and collaborate on how to achieve it together. Invitation over dictation. Far too often leaders fall into the trap of dictation. This is the way we're doing it, here's your task, just follow the script. But leadership isn't about issuing orders, it's about extending invitations to participate, to challenge assumptions, to contribute to the journey. Google's famous TGIF meetings are a powerful example. Every week, employees could submit questions directly to Larry Page or Sergey Brin. No hierarchy, no filter, just open dialogue. It fostered ownership, transparency, and a sense of shared destiny. Ideas that emerged from those sessions fueled some of Google's most innovative products. Invitation exercise: at your next team meeting, start by saying, "I'm inviting you to," rather than "I'm asking you to." Frame challenges as shared puzzles to solve. Watch how engagement skyrockets when people feel they're co-creators rather than cogs in a machine. Open dialogue and mutual respect. Open dialogue and mutual respect are the bedrock of inclusive decision-making. Without them, you risk groupthink, hidden resentments, and missed opportunities. Consider the tragic Challenger disaster. Engineers at Morton Thiokol had serious concerns about O-ring failures at low temperatures, but the design of the decision-making meeting silenced them. The pressure of hierarchy, the fear of being overruled, and the absence of genuine listening led to catastrophe. It was a failure of bridge building at the highest levels. Contrast that with Pixar's brain trust meetings. Their directors present unfinished films to a panel of peers. The key: the facilitator's role is purely to ask questions, not to dictate solutions. Critique is given with respect and always in service of the project's vision. The result is a culture where the best possible ideas rise to the surface. Guideline: establish clear norms for your meetings. Encourage dissent. What concerns do you have? Practice active listening. Paraphrase before responding. Separate critique of ideas from critique of people. By modeling respectful dialogue, you build bridges that allow creativity and candor to flourish. Seeking common ground. When you actively seek common ground, you transform individual efforts into collaborative triumphs. I like to illustrate this with a simple example: a rowing crew. If each rower pulls his own way, the boat spins in circles. But if they synchronize, listen to the rhythm, adjust their strokes, trust the coxswain, the boat glides forward with incredible speed. In business, that synchronization comes from shared values and shared goals. Patagonia, for instance, built a brand on environmental stewardship. Their employees aren't just working for a paycheck, they're working to preserve our planet. That shared passion makes every marketing campaign, supply chain decision, and waste reduction initiative a unified effort. Exercise: facilitate a common ground workshop. Ask team members to identify the values they hold most dear. Then collectively decide the top 3 values that will guide your work together. Display them prominently on your intranet, in your meeting rooms, and at the top of every presentation. Listening deeply: embrace the role of a bridge builder by listening deeply. Passive listening, hearing words, is not enough. You must engage your mind and heart. Ask clarifying questions. Tell me more about that. What makes that so important to you? Reflect back what you've heard. So if I'm understanding correctly, you're saying this level of engagement is rare. In one study, researchers found that 60% of people listen with the intent to reply, not to understand. Imagine the impact if we flipped that ratio, if we listened first, then responded. Listening drill. Pair up and practice this. Person A speaks for 2 minutes on a topic they're passionate about. Person B listens, no interrupting, then summarizes what they heard. Switch role. This simple exercise cultivates empathy and strengthens your bridge-building muscles. Engaging authentically. Authenticity matters. People can sense when you're putting on a facade. Brené Brown teaches us that vulnerability is not weakness. It's the birthplace of innovation, creativity, and trust. When you share your own struggles, your doubts, you invite others to do the same. I'll never forget speaking at a conference where, instead of delivering a polished speech, I started by saying, "I've been having a crisis of confidence this week." The audience leaned in. By the end, they were sharing their own stories of self-doubt and resilience. We built a bridge of shared humanity, and it transformed the energy in the room. Tip: in your next kickoff meeting, open with a story of failure or uncertainty. Model vulnerability, then invite your team to share theirs. Watch as psychological safety takes root, uniting under trust and cooperation. Trust is the glue that holds bridges together. Patrick Lencioni's pyramid puts trust at the base of every healthy team. Without trust, you get dysfunction, fear of conflict, lack of commitment, avoidance of accountability, and inattention to results. Trust is built through small acts: keeping your promises, admitting when you're wrong, giving credit generously, and forgiving mistakes. Over time, these acts accumulate into a reservoir of goodwill that can carry you through the toughest storms. Consider the cathedrals of medieval Europe. They were built not in a day, but over decades and centuries by generations of masons who never saw the finished masterpiece. What held them together was shared faith, shared vision, and immense trust in each other and in something greater than themselves. Achieving goals and leaving a legacy. When you build bridges connecting ideas, people, and aspirations, you not only achieve your organizational goals, but also leave a legacy of inclusivity and collective success. Your impact reverberates long after your tenure ends. Ask yourself, what kind of bridges am I building today? Are they temporary footbridges or enduring structures that will stand the test of time? The measure of your leadership isn't just quarterly KPIs, it's the strength and resilience of the community you forge. Thank you for your attention, your openness, and your willingness to explore what it means to be a bridge builder. Go forth and build bridges of connection, compassion, and collaboration. Because when we build them together, we create a world where everyone can cross, where every voice is heard, and where our shared future is brighter than any one of us could imagine alone. Thank you, and may your bridges be strong, your connections deep, and your legacy last.